What would you do if the man you married slept with your own sister? I gave this man everything. My heart, my loyalty, even my future. And he didn't just betray me, he did it with the one person I thought would always protect me. My own blood. But I didn't cry forever. I didn't collapse. I got smart. Because when you break a woman who built her life around you, she won't just walk away. She'll burn the whole foundation down. And when I was done with him, he had nothing left to call his own. Not even his name. My name is Claire, and for the longest time I thought I was living the dream. Married young to a man who made me believe I was his world. A cozy home, quiet Sunday mornings, lazy kisses before work, and all the little rituals that made life feel like a storybook. I wasn't naive, I knew real love took work. But I believed in us. In him. In everything we were building together. What I didn't see coming was the knife he was hiding behind that smile. Or the hand holding it. My own sister's. You hear stories like this all the time, right? Cheating. Family betrayal. But you never think you'll be the headline. You never think the people you love most will turn you into a cautionary tale. I'm not here to beg for sympathy. I'm here to tell you what happens when a woman stops crying and starts calculating. Because after I caught them, I didn't scream. I didn't fall apart. I watched. I waited. And then I took everything they thought they got away with. This isn't just a story about infidelity. It's a story about strategy, about patience, and about reclaiming your power when the world tries to strip it from you. So if you've ever been lied to, if you've ever been pushed to the edge by the people you trusted the most, stay with me. Because what you're about to hear isn't just revenge. It's justice served cold with a twist they never saw coming. Before everything fell apart, my life looked perfect. On the outside. I met Jake when I was 24. He was 30, confident, charming in that slightly cocky, boyish way. The kind of guy who always had a story, always knew what to say, and always made you feel like the most important person in the room. He worked in property development and I was just finishing my degree in marketing. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue, and I still remember how he looked at me like he'd already decided we were meant to be. At first I thought it was too good to be true. Spoiler, it was. We fell hard fast. Within 6 months we moved in together. Within a year we were married. It all felt like a whirlwind, but when you're young and in love, you convince yourself that fast means passionate, not reckless. My parents warned me to slow down, especially my mom. But my sister, Lila, she was the one who told me to go for it. She said Jake was a catch. That I'd regret letting him go. I trusted her. I trusted both of them. Growing up, Lila and I had a complicated relationship. She's 2 years older than me, always the prettier one, the one boys chased. But she was also fiercely protective, at least that's how I saw her. She could tease me, sure, but no one else could mess with me without answering to her. We weren't best friends, but we had a bond. We shared secrets, cried over breakups, covered for each other when we snuck out past curfew. She was my sister. And Jake? He seemed to like her too, at first in the innocent way you like your in-laws. He joked with her, called her trouble, in that playful tone guys use when they're trying too hard to be liked. I didn't think anything of it. In fact, I was happy they got along. It made family dinners easier. Looking back, the red flags were there. But when you're in love, you don't see warnings, you see quirks. Jake worked late often. The real estate grind never sleeps, he'd say. I'd make him dinner, wait up for him, sometimes fall asleep on the couch with his plate untouched beside me. Lila would text me late sometimes too. Nothing unusual. She'd ask how things were with Jake, tease me about playing house, or ask if she could stop by to borrow clothes or crash after a late night out. I never suspected a thing. Not even when I found one of her earrings under our bed. I figured she'd dropped it on one of her visits. She was always rummaging through my stuff. She practically lived at our place on the weekends. Jake even joked once, we should just give Lila her own key. I laughed. Felt normal. Safe. Jake was doing well financially. He'd just flipped his third investment property and was talking about starting his own firm. I'd landed a remote marketing job with a travel brand, and we were starting to talk about kids. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. Enough to start looking at houses outside the city. He made me feel like we were building something real. Something solid. But there were cracks I ignored. Like how he never wanted to take photos anymore. Or how he started sleeping on the edge of the bed. Or how his phone was suddenly face down all the time. And Lila? She became quieter. Distant. Less playful. She stopped sleeping over. She stopped teasing me about wifey life. And when I asked her if something was wrong, she brushed me off, said she was just seeing someone new, that it was complicated. God. I had no idea how complicated it really was. Then came the night that changed everything. It was our 3rd anniversary. I planned a surprise dinner, his favorite restaurant, just the two of us. I even wore the red dress he said he loved. He texted me an hour before. Sorry, emergency at the site. Might be late. Love you. So I waited. Ordered a drink. Sat there like an idiot for over an hour, until the waitress stopped asking if I wanted to keep the table. When I finally got home, our bedroom was dark. No Jake. But his laptop was still open on the desk. I never went through his stuff before. Never felt the need to. But something in me snapped that night, call it instinct, rage, whatever. I opened his emails. His messages. His Google Calendar. And there was a recurring event, Lila, 4 p.m. Every Friday. Every single week. I clicked through. Saw notes. Attachments. One of them had photos. I don't even want to describe them, but they were intimate. Raw. Not the kind you send to your brother-in-law. My hands were shaking. My mouth went dry. I felt like I was floating outside of my body, watching my entire world collapse beneath me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake him up and throw the laptop at his face. But I didn't. Not that night. Instead, I sat there staring at the screen until the sun came up. And by morning, I wasn't just heartbroken. I was ready. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I pretended, smiled when I had to, kissed him like nothing had changed, cooked his meals and let him sleep in our bed. Meanwhile, inside me, something was rotting. I knew I couldn't just storm in and accuse him. He'd deny it. Gaslight me. Twist it into a misunderstanding. That was Jake's specialty. He could lie with a straight face and turn guilt into guilt tripping. So I started digging. I copied the files from his laptop to a flash drive. Screenshots. Emails. Calendar entries. Venmo payments. He'd sent her money. Not a lot, but enough to make my stomach churn. For Uber. For that thing you like. Lunch again, smiling face with smiling. And then there were the hotel receipts. Always the same place. Always the same time. Friday afternoons. While I thought he was running site inspections, he was inspecting my sister's body. I knew I needed more. Something undeniable. So I followed them. 2 Fridays later, I faked a client meeting and tailed him in a rented car. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might throw up, but I kept going. He parked at the usual hotel. Not seedy, mid-tier, discreet. I watched from across the street as he met her at the entrance. It was her. Lila. Wearing the dress I lent her 6 months ago. Laughing. Twirling a strand of hair. Touching his chest like they were some twisted, star-crossed couple in a damn romance movie. I snapped photos. Videos. I even recorded their conversation from my phone pressed against the dashboard. I captured her saying, "She doesn't suspect a thing." And Jake replying, "Let's keep it that way, baby." Baby. He used to call me that. That night I didn't go home. I drove until the tank hit empty, then checked into a cheap motel off the highway and stared at the ceiling for hours. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just betrayed by my husband. I was replaced by my own sister. And not just in private. Jake had given her pieces of my life. My stories. My routines. The inside jokes we used to share. I could hear it in their messages. The way she parroted my phrases. The way he told her he loved, how easy it was with her. No nagging, no pressure, just fun. Fun. That's what my marriage became to them. A joke. The next day I went to my parents' house. I didn't say a word about Jake or Lila. I just sat across from my mother at the kitchen table, watching her slice oranges for the brunch she hosted every Sunday. And then I asked, "Do you think Lila's happy?" She looked up. "Why do you ask that?" "No reason," I said. "She just seems distracted lately." My mother sighed. Lila's always had a hard time letting go of things that aren't hers. That sentence hit like a hammer. I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't have to. Lila had always been the golden girl. The firstborn. The beauty. The one who got into the good college, dated the popular guys, got the job with the fancy title. And yet, no matter what she had, it was never enough. She didn't want Jake because she loved him. She wanted him because I had him. The betrayal was deeper than infidelity. It was identity theft. A cruel, calculated dismantling of my trust, my home, my reality. But here's the part that hurts most. They weren't even good at hiding it. They knew I'd eventually find out. Because this wasn't just about sneaking around. It was about hurting me. That became clear when I saw Lila 2 days later at our parents' house for dinner. He hugged me. Told me my hair looked cute. Asked if Jake and I were still being all gross and in love. I wanted to slap her. Instead I smiled and said, "We're great. Actually, I think we're stronger than ever." She smirked. "Well, must be doing something right." I leaned closer. "Oh, I'm doing everything right." She didn't know I'd already changed our bank passwords. Or that I was meeting with a divorce lawyer that week. Or that I was about to set into motion the slow, devastating unraveling of the two people who tried to destroy me. But I'll get to that. Before the revenge, there was one final straw. Jake came home late one night, reeking of cologne I didn't wear, with lipstick smudged near his collar. The same shade Lila always used. He kissed me on the forehead like nothing was wrong and mumbled something about being wiped. That night I left a single photo on his pillow. A photo of him and Lila at the hotel. Just one. The next morning he acted like nothing happened. Didn't bring it up. Didn't mention it. He'd seen it. He knew. But he thought I wouldn't do anything. That's the problem with men like Jake. They don't expect you to fight back. They expect you to beg. To break. To cry and say, "Why did you do this to me?" But I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to bury him. And Lila? She'd be collateral damage. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. You don't just hurt someone like me and walk away clean. You don't take my love, my loyalty, my life, and trade it for a secret affair, and expect me to watch from the sidelines. No. You made me a villain, Jake. No. You're going to meet her. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But me. I served it frozen, calculated, and plated like a 5-star meal with garnish. I didn't want to just hurt Jake. I wanted to ruin him. Not with rage. With precision. With elegance. With the kind of devastation that doesn't just sting. It shatters. Because while he thought I was fragile, emotional, naive, what he forgot is that I'm a strategist. I'm the woman who built entire marketing campaigns from scratch. I read people for a living. I know how to find pressure points and twist them just right. So the first thing I did, I stopped sleeping with him. Cold turkey. I told him I wasn't feeling well. I faked stress, headaches, migraines, even some vague hormonal issues. He didn't ask questions. He was too busy warming my sister's sheets to care. Perfect. Let him think I was slipping into sadness. Let him underestimate me. While he slept, I worked. I contacted a divorce attorney, Maya Lin, known for her cutthroat tactics and flawless courtroom record. He was expensive. I paid her with money from his account. The joint savings he thought I didn't know the password to? Yeah, I changed it weeks ago. Transferred half into a legal fund. Left the rest, just enough to avoid suspicion. Then I started the paper trail. Jake was sloppy with his finances. He put business expenses on personal cards, underreported income, and funneled money through side LLCs he never told me about. He bragged about it once like it was a clever tax dodge. Guess what? Maya loved that. She looped in a forensic accountant and together they started pulling records, tracking shell companies, and highlighting every gray area that could become black and white in court. Meanwhile, I played the doting wife. I made his favorite meals. Laughed at his jokes. Even suggested we take a weekend trip to reconnect. He declined, obviously, some last-minute project. I smiled and kissed him goodbye that morning, knowing full well that by next month he'd be signing his freedom away. And Lila? Oh, she was busy planning her soft launch. I found her secret Instagram account. She was posting cryptic love quotes and photos of wine glasses clinking, always with a man's hand just barely visible. Never a full face, but enough for me to know it was Jake's watch. Jake's too. Jake's stupid ego. I commented on one of her posts from a burner account. Just a single emoji. Firecracker. A warning. Subtle. Beautiful. Then came the party. Every year, Jake's company threw a semi-formal investor mixer. Real estate moguls, influencers, old money sharks. They all showed up. This year he asked me to come. Said it'd be good for optics. Optics. He wanted to parade me around as his perfect wife, while screwing my sister behind my back. So I agreed. I wore a black satin dress that hugged me like sin. Hair done, smile perfected. I walked in on his arm like we were royalty. People whispered compliments, asked when we were having kids, told us we were #couple goals. And Lila? He was there. She wasn't invited, but she came, probably at Jake's request in some sick power move. She wore red, of course. Like a warning flare. Like she wanted to be seen. So I made sure everyone saw her. Midway through the evening, I asked the event coordinator if I could make a toast. She happily obliged. I tapped my glass. The room quieted. Jake looked at me confused. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began. "I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for being here. To celebrate growth, partnership, and the power of transparency." He shifted in his chair. Lila's eyes narrowed. "And speaking of transparency," I continued, "I have something very special to share. A small video tribute to the man I love." I gestured to the screen. The lights dimmed. A video started playing. But it wasn't our wedding montage. It wasn't a company promo. It was footage. Of them. Jake and Lila. Together. At the hotel. Laughing. Kissing. Sneaking into rooms. Gasps echoed across the room. Someone dropped a glass. Lila went white. Jake stood up so fast his chair crashed behind him. I stood beside the screen, calm as ever. "This," I said, "is what betrayal looks like. This is what happens when you gamble with loyalty and lose." And then I walked out. But that was just Act 1. The next morning, Jake found his office locked. His keycard deactivated. I had tipped off his business partner, an older man named Charles, with evidence of financial fraud. Embezzlement. Dishonest bookkeeping. Charles didn't take betrayal lightly. Jake was suspended. Investigated. His assets frozen. And as for his reputation, that was the first thing to go. News spread. Clients pulled out. Sponsors canceled. Lila tried to do damage control on social media, but screenshots surfaced. Messages. Hotel bookings. Even a private DM she'd sent to a mutual friend, bragging about stealing her sister's man like a queen. More like court jester. And now she wasn't just humiliated, she was jobless. Her PR firm couldn't afford the scandal. They dropped her by Monday. Jake tried to call. Text. I messed up. I was stupid. Can we talk? I blocked him everywhere. But I did send one final email. No words. Just an attachment. A divorce petition already signed with a proposed settlement. One that gave me the house. Me the car. Me the lion's share of the account. He had no choice but to sign it. Why? Because I had everything. Receipts. Photos. Witnesses. Even a recorded confession from his drunken voicemail the night after the party, where he begged Lila not to leave him. She left anyway. Turns out she never wanted to stay. She liked the thrill, not the aftermath. Now they were both alone. Broke. Me. I moved into a new place. Bought a dog. Started freelancing. I cut my hair. Dyed it. Rebuilt myself piece by piece. Because revenge isn't just about destroying someone else. It's about choosing yourself when no one else does. And they gave me every reason to choose me. You ever watch a building collapse in slow motion? That's what it felt like watching Jake's life implode, one steel beam of arrogance at a time. And I didn't have to lift a finger. Not anymore. The party video went viral within our social circle and beyond. Some guest had discreetly recorded it on their phone and leaked it online. Reddit threads, Instagram reels, and TikTok story times picked it up like wildfire. The title? Wife exposes husband and her sister for cheating at a corporate gala skull fire. The internet did what the internet does. They tore into him. Memes. Duets. Reaction videos. She's a queen compilations of me standing there calm and composed while Jake looked like he just saw death in heels. I didn't speak a word publicly. Didn't need to. But the silence? It was louder than any interview could ever be. Jake tried damage control. Posted a Notes app apology on his Instagram, talking about how he was going through personal struggles and deeply regretted hurting the people he loves. That lasted all of 5 minutes before someone unearthed screenshots of him bragging in DMs about juggling 2 sisters like a boss. I guess his ego didn't age well. His real estate firm was hemorrhaging. Charles, his business partner, filed a legal notice to remove him as a director. Investors pulled out. 2 major clients filed lawsuits for misappropriation of funds. Jake tried to call them misunderstandings. Maya, my attorney, called them criminal liability. In less than 6 weeks he went from corporate golden boy to industry cautionary tale. He didn't just lose his job, he lost credibility. He lost everything. And Lila? She tried to play the victim. Posted vague quotes like, "People break when they're unloved," and "Sometimes love isn't enough." Girl, you slept with your sister's husband. You're not unloved, you're just unethical. Her Instagram went dark after someone from my old college group reposted her texts. The same text where she mocked my boring marriage and called Jake her upgrade. Turns out even her friends had their limits. She lost her job, her lease. Even her new little influencer side hustle crumbled. No brand wanted to work with the homewrecker sister, no matter how cute her aesthetics were. Karma didn't just knock, it kicked the damn door down. Me. I was finally free. The divorce finalized quicker than expected. The judge awarded me the house, 70% of our joint savings, and even a small portion of Jake's company stock, right before the firm tanked, so I sold it at its peak. Poetic timing. There was one moment that sealed it all, though. One final face-to-face. Jake showed up at my door. I was already expecting him. I'd seen his name pop up on the ring cam. Hooked, wrecked, hollow. Wearing a hoodie that didn't fit anymore and sneakers with torn laces. He stood there for a few seconds before finally saying, "I miss you." I didn't answer. Then the real reason he came out. "I've lost everything, Claire. The house. My job. Even my family won't speak to me." I just nodded. Come. Like I was listening to a stranger tell a sad story I wasn't part of. He asked me if I would ever forgive him. And I told him quietly but clearly. Forgiveness isn't the same as a second chance. And you spent all of those. He tried to cry. Or maybe he wanted to cry and couldn't. Either way, it didn't move me. He said, "I thought you'd always be there. No matter what." And I said, "That was your first mistake. Thinking love meant I wouldn't leave. That I wouldn't fight back." He stood there a little longer like he was waiting for some miracle to fall out of the sky. But I just closed the door. No drama. No yelling. Just peace. The kind you earn. I sat on my couch after that, wine glass in hand, and let myself feel everything. Not sadness. Not anger. But relief. Because the worst had already happened. And I had walked through it with my head high. Not untouched but unbroken. Some people say revenge doesn't heal anything. That it's petty. Unnecessary. That you should just let go and be the bigger person. Maybe they've never had their world shattered by the two people they trusted most. Maybe they've never had to walk past a sister and pretend not to see the knife in her hand, or kiss a husband while knowing he kissed her an hour earlier. Forgiveness is a beautiful concept, but it's not owed. And closure? Sometimes you don't find it in quiet acceptance. Sometimes you find it in the scorching clarity of truth. When I walked out of that marriage, I didn't walk away empty. I walked away whole. I rebuilt my life from ashes. Not because I wanted to be a survivor, but because I refused to be a casualty. Jake lost everything because he treated me like I was disposable. Lila lost everything because she treated me like a rival in some twisted game. No. I sleep peacefully. I laugh deeply. I've built a new circle, one rooted in honesty and strength. Not blood or vows, but choice. I don't know where Jake is now. Last I heard, he was renting a studio apartment and applying for freelance consulting gigs. And Lila? Rumor has it she moved across the country to start fresh. But me? I started free. If you're listening to this, maybe you've been betrayed too. Maybe you're in the middle of the storm, wondering if you'll ever feel whole again. You will. Not because time heals everything, but because you will choose to rise. So don't let someone else's betrayal define your ending. Write your own story. Make your own rules. And remember, sometimes the best revenge is simply living a life they can never touch again. Broken heart, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted with your entire heart? Backhand index pointing down, share your story in the comments. Let's be each other's safe space. Brain, if this story resonated with you, don't forget to thumbs up, like this video to support strong voices rising from pain. Envelope with arrow, subscribe for more real raw stories of betrayal, strength, and transformation. Bell, hit the notification bell so you never miss another tale that might just reflect your truth. Eyes, new uploads every week. Where your pain meets power.